In today's day and age, everyone has the opportunity to share their opinion. With the click of a button, a post, a tweet, whatever it is, we all have the ability to talk, and it's almost instantly. But my question would be, if everyone's talking, is anyone listening? We've all seen this happen online. One person shares their opinion, another person doesn't agree, and then this gigantic debate happens on the internet, and we watch people basically just talking over each other. The high school experience is more diverse today than it's ever been. What happens when all of these people from diverse backgrounds and diverse experiences come together? It's a lot easier to spend time talking to people who you understand or people who you grew up like or who live in your same bubble. The real skill comes when you learn to talk to people whose experiences are different. A lot of us have different perspectives on things. Just because I have a different perspective than you, it doesn't mean that I'm right and you're wrong, or vice versa. When you graduate high school, you are going to be surrounded by people with a different perspective than you. Your coworkers, your neighbors, people in your community. You're going to be surrounded by people who have tons of different experiences than you do. You have to understand something. Not everyone believes what you believe, and that's okay. If you want to understand someone else's perspective, the first thing you have to keep in mind is there's a huge difference between a debate and dialogue. A debate is about winning an argument. It's about proving that you're right. Dialogue, that's about having a conversation. That's about listening with the intent of trying to understand someone else's perspective. One of the biggest issues I see with communication today is what I call conversational narcissism. Conversational narcissism is when you turn the conversation back to yourself, your ideas, and your beliefs. And to be honest, that's a lot of us. I've done that, a lot of you have done that. But if you want to grow in your understanding, if you want to grow in your ability to relate and connect with people, you've got to learn how to have a dialogue, not a debate. When you engage in dialogue, you have to understand it's okay to disagree, but it's never okay to disrespect. And when you're mature enough to have an honest dialogue with someone, that's when you begin to establish trust. And that trust makes it okay to ask tough questions, because you know you're asking questions because you want to understand, not because you want to win a debate. And that's how you gain perspective. That's where real learning happens. When you believe that your opinion is right and that your perspective is the only one that matters, you start to identify people by their differences, and it's almost like you put them in this box based on what makes them different. And if you judge people based on their differences, that's when you become intolerant. That's where hate is born, because you hate what you don't understand. So how do we break down these boxes that we've created or others have created and start seeing each other as individuals? There's no real way to eliminate bias, but there are ways to understand it and work through it. You have to stop listening to that voice in your head that wants to label people based on their differences. The process to breaking down these barriers and seeing past your differences is that you have to find commonalities. Because once you find commonalities in each other's stories, that's where inclusion begins. And inclusion, that is the solution. We have to include each other in conversations. We have to include each other in our experiences. We have to stop judging people based on their differences and start appreciating their different perspective. You have to realize your experience, it's not the only one out there. So when everyone stops talking and starts listening, that's when we change our schools. That's when we change our communities. That's when we begin to solve some of the biggest problems in the world. So if you want to make a change, it starts with an open and honest conversation.